Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite _UK hand waving. A place where we break down the stories behind South Africa's Women's Super League, not just the results, but the journeys, the losses, the aspirations, and the turning points of women's rugby. If you care about the deeper layers of sport, subscribe to the channel and follow along with us.
When the Women's Super League was launched in South Africa, the first thing that made me pause was not the numbers, nor the fixture list, but a feeling. Something was truly beginning. Not a beginning in a superficial sense, a rebrand, a new sponsor, a reshuffled system, but a deeper beginning, the start of a journey in which women's rugby is finally being taken seriously.
February 14th, Valentine's Day, is usually associated with personal love stories. Here, however, it became a symbol of something larger: love for sport, for perseverance, for dreams that were once dismissed as secondary. The tournament officially kicking off on this day unintentionally created a beautiful layer of meaning. While many celebrate romantic love, these women stepped onto the field to affirm their love for rugby, and for the relentless effort they have carried for years. What impressed me most is that the Women's Super League is not a short-term project. 2 years of preparation show that this was a strategic decision, not a passing trend. Women's rugby in South Africa has existed and developed for a long time, but only now has it truly been placed within a competition structure with clear direction and long-term vision. Renaming the league from the Premier Division to the Super League is not just a cosmetic change, it is a statement: we want to raise the standard. Bulls Daisies, as the dominant team for many years, represent both inspiration and pressure for the entire league. 3 consecutive championships speak not only to the strength of one team, but also to the gap in quality that has long existed in South African women's rugby. On the positive side, Bulls Daisies are a model, professional, well-funded, with a clear coaching and development system. On the other hand, prolonged dominance raises a difficult question: can a league grow sustainably when the outcome is often predictable?
The fact that Bulls Daisies are currently the only fully professional women's rugby team in South Africa is both admirable and troubling. Admirable, because they dared to lead and to invest seriously in women's rugby, when it was far from common practice. Troubling, because it shows that the rest of the system has yet to catch up. One strong team cannot lift an entire rugby ecosystem if it has to pull the league forward alone. The pressure on the all-female coaching staff of Bulls Daisies is therefore immense. They are not only tasked with defending titles, but also with proving that women are fully capable of leading, managing, and building strategies at the highest level of a sport long viewed as a male domain. The departure of the former head coach, who left behind an almost flawless legacy, only makes that challenge heavier. For a team accustomed to winning, any drop in performance is quickly scrutinized, even judged. Yet the most emotional and perhaps most profound part of this story is the passing of Lucinda Dumka. At just 29 years old, she lost her battle with a serious illness, leaving a void not only in the squad, but in the hearts of her teammates and fans. Sport is often discussed in terms of strength, speed, and tactics, but moments like this remind us that behind every jersey is a human being, carrying personal battles that are not always visible on the field. That loss will undoubtedly affect Bulls Daisies, not only mentally, but also in how they approach the new season. And perhaps it is through such pain that we most clearly see the true value of sport, not just winning or losing, but connection, remembrance, and the way people keep moving forward while carrying their scars. On the other side of this narrative of dominance stand Boland Dames, emerging as a symbol of the desire to break the old order. They are neither outsiders nor underdogs, but a team that has come painfully close to glory multiple times without quite reaching it. That feeling of almost, in my view, is one of the strongest motivators in sport. It hurts, but it drives. Their previous second-place finishes, their big wins, and the presence of outstanding individuals like Hele show that Boland Dames are not lacking in potential. What they may be missing is not skill, but consistency and composure in decisive moments. Their narrow semi-final loss last season illustrates this perfectly. The line between reaching the final and falling short can sometimes be just a single moment. A new league brings new opportunities, but opportunities only become reality if they are seized. The expectations placed on internationally experienced players like Michaela Samboya in the defensive line go beyond individual performance. They are expectations of collective maturity. A championship-winning team cannot rely on isolated flashes of brilliance. It needs a system that functions smoothly, especially in defense, where survival is often decided in the tensest matches. One of the most important objectives of the Women's Super League is to increase competitiveness. The large scorelines of the past, while reflecting the strength of top teams, also exposed a worrying imbalance. When results are too one-sided, fans lose interest, weaker players lose motivation, and the league struggles to grow in depth. Improving balance is not about dragging strong teams down, but about lifting weaker teams up. This is a long process that requires investment in youth development, coaching, playing conditions, and management thinking. But if achieved, the benefits will extend far beyond a single season. They will shape the future of women's rugby in South Africa. On a personal level, following this story has made one lesson very clear to me: no sustainable development comes from a single individual or a single team. No matter how strong Bulls Daisies are, South African women's rugby will only truly grow when many teams grow stronger together, when victories are no longer guaranteed, and when every match carries genuine tension. For fans, the greatest lesson may be patience and respect for the journey. Women's rugby cannot flourish after just one season, or through a handful of exciting matches. It needs time, consistent support, and a community willing to recognize the value of women's sport fairly, without skewed comparisons or prejudice. For me personally, this story is a reminder that success should not be measured only in trophies. Bulls Daisies may continue to win titles, Boland Dames may once again fall just short, but if the Women's Super League helps young girls believe they have a future in rugby, if it creates a more professional and more humane environment, then that is already a major victory. In the end, what lingers is not just who will lift the trophy on April 4th, but the question: are we witnessing a turning point for women's rugby in South Africa? And if the answer is yes, then every player who steps onto the field, every coach on the touchline, every fan watching from the stands or a screen, is becoming part of a history being written, quietly, persistently, but with profound meaning.
The Women's Super League is not merely a new competition, it is a milestone marking a more serious recognition of women's rugby in South Africa. If you believe sport is a journey of resilience, memory, and hope, subscribe to Scrum Masters Elite _UK to continue walking alongside stories like these.